What's going on, everyone? It's Ryland here. Put together this little shred series the other day. I was working from home and went for a little afternoon lunch ride when the sun came out because it was gorgeous. And what else do you do when the sun comes out other than ride? It's going to be a little bit different of a shred series than we usually do. I go on some trails, but I was mostly just cruising around the neighborhood. I've been trying to practice my curb nudges a lot. I've been going out every day at the office here and just trying to get them honed in. I've made a lot of progress, but as you'll see here, sometimes, doing them in the parking lot with curves I'm used to, I've been able to really nail down the timing. So now it's really just a matter of going out into the real world and practicing them in real curbs, real situations. Not every curb is created equally. And what I've noticed a lot with the streets around here is before the curb, there's always like a little slope. I'm assuming for water to try to catch there and have that run into the drains. So it's really throwing off my timing, and you'll see that here. That was actually just really bad. I don't think I didn't lift the nose up high enough, and then I was pretty weak on the nose slam in. But yeah, it's been a fun little adventure to try to unlock fully the curb nudges, and it's quite a satisfying feeling to be able to just go up to a curb and hop up it and not have to pick up the board. I know people talk about this a lot when they talk about curb nudges, but it really does open up a whole new world of one-wheeling for you. I like to say now, a curb nudge a day keeps the walking at bay. And it's pretty true. The other day we were out shooting some photos for our new merch line, our apparel, and we were on this parking garage, and I saw this fun little pop up onto a curb and go around this little skinny, and 3 tries in, I'm doing it. I was getting the curb nudge every time, and the trouble was getting the curb nudge and then holding my balance onto the curb, but with enough persistence, I did it, and it was a good time. Had I not known how to curb nudge, I never would have done that before. If I did, I would have picked my board up and then set it down and then done it. And it's just a lot more fun when you could just flow with it and go wherever your mind wants you to go. You might notice some cuts here and there. I just kept stopping to look around, and I'm sure you guys aren't here to watch me enjoy the scenery, so I decided to just cut out the parts where I wasn't actually wheeling or doing anything. So if you take note of the shoes I'm wearing, those are called Bedrock mountain clogs. I picked them up, 2 weeks ago, and they are incredible. I think my favorite shoes I've ever owned. I'm a barefoot shoe guy, and while they're not barefoot, they do have that wide toe box, and then they got Vibram bottoms. And I've never been on a one wheel with anything Vibram on the bottom of it. And I'm so locked in, even trying to move my feet around, your typical shimmy foot maneuver, your heel toe, as you could say. It's hard for me to do that. I need to fully jump up and then shift back. So if you're in the market for maybe the best one-wheeling shoe ever, highly recommend Bedrock mountain clogs. They are sold out until fall. They're a hot commodity, but sign up for their letter to get alerted when they're out there, and who knows, you might see me winning Race to the Rail on these puppies this year. But yeah, it was a gorgeous day. I'm a big fan of the Pint X. I don't need to go speed all the time. I like to have fun and just cruise. And here I'm looking at some people, what looked like they were catching some fish, but I don't think they were actually catching anything. But I was hoping that I'd go past them at a magical moment where they pulled out a huge, I don't know what swims out there. I wouldn't say tilapia, but I'm not sure if that's what's out there or not. But yeah, the Pint X is just so fun. It's I think it might be the perfect board. It is small, it is nimble, it is powerful. It just feels so good under the feet. You could whip it around easily. You know, I think the GT has its place, but for something like what I'm doing in this, you know, just cruising around the neighborhood, exploring, it's just so much, I don't know, it gives you so much freedom. It's light under you, and you could just whip it whenever you want. But yeah, I had some plans during this ride. Really had two goals. Two goals were to get a bunch of curb nudges and pet as many dogs as I possibly could. Kind of accomplish the curb nudges. I did some practicing in a parking lot, which you'll see, and I got like 2, but I just wasn't on this day. I'm not sure if having the GoPro on the stick behind me was throwing it off, or maybe I just wasn't in the right mindset for it, but at the end of the day, I was just really enjoying the cruise. I kept getting lost, just going. I was trying to do live commentary while doing this, and I would talk for, you know, 2-3 minutes here and there, and then I would just blank out. Absolute flow state. I think it was like 65 degrees. There was no wind at this point. There was some headwind later, but yeah, it was just a nice day. And this is usually, this road that I'm going on right now is usually the dog hotspot. I mean, you can see there's a few dogs there, but no dogs that were like pettable, I would say. They were all running with their owners or walking around. No one was just sitting there hanging out, enjoying the views. Otherwise, I would have gone and asked to pet them. I also just didn't really want to stop riding. It just was feeling so good. But yeah, you know, I think the next thing after I get curb nudges down 100%, which, you know, I know there's never 100%, but once I feel really confident with my curb nudges, I want to learn how to bonk or volley, whichever club you're in for that term. I want to learn how to do that. No big goals. I'm just trying to explore the one-wheel world more and see what other possibilities there are. You know, I know how to ride, I know how to carve, I know how to go on trail, so it seems like the next logical step, other than being able to ride as hard as some of you folk out there when you're on trails or even on street, is to learn about the freestyle world. I've never really been a board sport guy, so being able to do curb nudges on the one wheel has really, I guess it kind of just shows that one wheeling is for anyone. Anyone can do it. You just gotta practice. I mean, I guess that goes for most things in this world. With enough practice, you'll do it. But for anyone that's been trying to do curb nudges or any trick for that, you know, don't say you can't do it because you don't have a board sport background. I know a lot of the people that we all watch, you know, Bodie, Kyle, Tyler, Neil, all of them have some sort of board sport background or something that's kind of helped them be able to move the one wheel in ways that evolve it and you know, people just see it differently, but anyone can do it really. You just gotta be consistent, practice, and just don't give up on it. I mean, it's taken me about 2 weeks of every day going out 10, 15, 20 minutes and just curb nudging out front of our office. Anytime I want to like step away from an edit and come back with fresh eyes, I'll just go out there. We have 3 different stages of curbs right out of the front, and I'll hit them. I'll start with the lowest. Once I get 3 there, I'll move to the middle, do 3 there, move to the bigger, do 3 there. And then I'll come back inside, and it's usually just like a nice little refresh, a nice reset. And it makes you energized. But yeah, I didn't know where I was going. I think the best way to have an adventure like this is to just go out, don't really have a plan in mind, and just start riding. It's kind of the same way I ride when I cruise around my motorcycle on weekends. I'll just, I've tried setting my course before and following that, but I think there's something to just turning. When you see it turn, it looks interesting, just going down that road, seeing what's there. I mean, because of doing this, I have found spots around my house I never knew about before. I lived here for about a year, and yeah, you just, there's so much hidden away that you just don't see in your day-to-day. And I think that's something really cool about the Onewheel or any device like this is it just, like, why not go down that road? Why pass it when you pass it every day? Might as well just take the 5, 10, sometimes it's even just 2 minutes to go down there. I mean, later I found this secret little beach that never knew was back there. It seems like a pretty secret beach, like a local place. There was 2 surfers paddling out, and you know, I was talking to Kevin about that spot, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that must be like a pretty local spot there." Also, this truck that passed me is pretty sick. I'm not sure what it is. It's almost like someone took a Mercedes Sprinter, couldn't cut the Sprinter part off of it and made it a flatbed, and it is raised up and it's epic. And I see the guy drive it around all the time, and I want to know if he made it custom, if it's real. It's almost like a Mercedes Sprinter combined with a Honda Acti, in the sense that it's not a mini truck at all. It has nothing to do with the Honda Acti, but that kind of style where it's like almost cab over engine with this flatbed, except you could probably fit 4 Honda Actis into the footprint of that truck. So if anyone knows what that thing is called, drop a comment, let us know. And I think it'd be a pretty insane little vehicle to have. Probably isn't the greatest on gas, but you know, that's okay. You can offset it with some Onewheel mileage. So here's I'm going to this park here to try to do some curb nudge practicing. I found some curbs, and I got a few, but again, it wasn't the greatest. I've mostly been practicing on the GT, and honestly, the GT with curb nudges is like absolute cheat mode. Like I should try going back on like an XR to see if my technique with the GT translates over to the XR nicely, but with the GT, you can the main thing I've realized about curb nudges, which I thought prior, is that you needed more speed going into them, but I've actually learned that the speed is your enemy, because if you come in too hot and your timing isn't perfect, like I'm sure once you get better at it, you can hit it with more speed, but until you're getting the timing down, if you're coming in that speed, it's gonna be really hard to do it, because you're just gonna keep slamming that tire straight into the curb before you do anything else, and all your body weight's gonna get thrown off. And with the GT, you can just, 3 miles an hour, go up to a curb, do it. And if you get the timing right, it's gonna be like a rock crawler at King of Hammers. It's just gonna just get you right up on that curb. The Pint X is kind of similar. It still has that nice power. Well, there you go, I got that. That was pretty good. I was pretty stoked about that one. But what I struggle with the Pint X, which is why I'm trying to practice more on it, is just the timing. It's a different timing than the GT, because it's a little shorter. And I would definitely say with the GT, I'm about at I wouldn't say 90% success rate, but I'll say like 85% success rate. There, I was just kind of sizing enough to see if I'd be able to hop up on that little curb and do a nudge, but I'm not sure I'd be able to get the right angle on it. I'm not quite confident enough yet to hit a curb off angle to nudge it, or like hit the corner of a curb. So here's another little red curb that I practiced at it for a few times. I was just waiting for that Amazon truck to go by, because you never know with them, that sometimes they don't watch you. But yeah, it's been interesting, because I would say, obviously I'm an editor before a one-wheeler, but watching footage of people do curb nudges all the time has really, I think that's what's helped me unlock how to curb nudge. There's all the steps you hear: ninja kick, squash the bug, and de-weight, all that. But I think once you actually see a close-up side shot of someone doing a curb nudge, that's like when it starts to click to me. Like for me, I thought you want right as the nose touches the curb, that's when, or not the nose, the tire touches the curb, that's when you want to squash the bug and pin the nose into the curb. But what I've actually learned is you want to get the nose up pretty high. I think that's some of the things people struggle with is, you have a shorter, curbs vary in height. So if you have a shorter curb, you're like, I don't need to lift the nose up as high. But I don't think that's actually true, because you still need to get that nose in the optimal position to slam it down and give the Onewheel that little boost into the curb to get it to grab and pull you up. And that one I kind of cheated. I kind of did like a nose stall, and the tire was about halfway up, so I just did a little shimmy to get up there the rest of the way. But yeah, what I've noticed is you want to actually like maybe an inch, half an inch before, I'm saying half an inch or an inch, I'm making that up completely. Right before the tire comes in contact with the curb, that's when you want to be slamming the nose down, because then you're hitting the nose down and pushing it forwards, which pushes the wheel into the curb more, grabs it, and then it pushes you up that rest of the way. And on the GT, it is, like I said, it is so easy. The torque that the board has is, you might even be able to just do it from a standstill. I'm not sure, I haven't tried that. I might go try that after doing this voiceover, because I'm actually quite curious. So yeah, I was just exploring this park. I saw this trail, thought it would lead somewhere, but it was just some train tracks. So I decided to turn around. And honestly, this was, I think, my first time ever holding a 360 camera while one-wheeling. And, I thought it'd be a little bit easier, like, you wouldn't notice it, but it was definitely throwing me off. When it's extended, even though the GoPro only weighs maybe a pound, I, again, don't know. It really, when it's extended, it really does tire your arm out, pulls you down, and just throws off your body weight. I actually noticed a few times when I was trying to do some curb nudges, I was scraping the body of the GoPro against the ground. So here again, I'm just looking for some more curbs, and found this pretty cool little spot here that, for any of you freestylers, would seem like a pretty cool spot to do some tricks on. You could go up those ledges and ride along that wall. I'm sure someone out there could do a bonk bolly over the whole wall. It would be pretty insane. But yeah, I'm just cruising now. I was gonna go to this gulch trail that I found about a week and a half ago. I was going over to Kevin's house to watch the Azerbaijan Baku Formula One Grand Prix, and hopped on my board and put his address into my phone, and it took me down this little park, and it was like I got transported, absolutely transported. I was just on the road, then I went down into this little ravine and just in this field with all these cows. And the plan was to go there, and then, as you'll see in a little bit, I was like Doug from Up, and I was like squirrel, but instead of squirrel, it was smooth road. We'll see that here as I cruise up to this light. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't stick to any plan this day. I guess that's what flow state does to you. Sometimes my brain was just going empty. I don't think, I was riding for about an hour, didn't have a single thought pass through my head, I don't think. So yeah, just waiting that red light. What do you guys do at red lights? Do you disengage? Do you do some body aerials? Do you go snowboard style? I tend to just stand there. Sometimes I'll rock back and forth just to keep moving out of this way here for this biker. Keep a note on him. I actually see him later. He was also out enjoying the beautiful day, but yeah, he wanted to pass me, so I let him by. Not really sure what I did after this, but I think I just kept going straight. I also had intended to stop and get a smoothie at some point, but again, I just didn't want to stop riding. I didn't want to stop, didn't want to get off, didn't want to wait for a smoothie. But there was another dog, couldn't really pet that one. Yeah, I don't know, all the people out there that ride all the time with 360 cameras must have pretty strong like forearms for holding it all the time. I think I was definitely feeling it. I was like, wow, it's just a weird leverage thing that you got going on. But here I'm fighting a headwind, so it kept pushing me into pushback, and then I would slow down like right there. It pushes me in because I'm trying to fight it. It was strong. It was probably like a 5-10 mile an hour headwind. But you know, that's why pushback exists. You know, like I said, I'm not all about the speed. It's same with my motorcycle. I go on mountain roads, and you know, you got the people there that want to go 40 or 50 around every turn, but I prefer to just chill out, soak in the views, enjoy being out in nature. Why do you got to rush through being in nature? I mean, I guess you could just keep going, but I love the feeling of the open air against you and the smells you get. I mean, right here, it's mostly just the smell of cars passing you, diesel trucks. But it's just, I think it's one of the best feelings is just my Spotify playlist is called this open air cruising. I don't think there's much like it. I think everyone in the world should have some sort of vehicle that puts them out in the world while they're riding it, whether it's a long wheel, whether it's a motorcycle or anything really. It's just a whole new world. The smells you get are crazy. Like I've gone past farms before and just gotten whiffs of strawberries, and like you just don't get that in a car. There's a lot you don't get in a car. You're closed off. You're basically just in a house that's driving down the road, and you're just completely disconnected. When you're out in the world, you're involved. You're in the world. But we're coming up, I think, on where I got really distracted by a really smooth road, which I was hoping was going to go on for longer, but it was actually just a little like dead end. Here I just stopped because I kept feeling my phone vibrate, so I just needed to make sure it wasn't anything super important with work. It wasn't at all. So I just kept going. I mean, we're about halfway through, and if it was more important, I probably still would have kept going, you know? You gotta get out and cruise. Good for the brain. But yeah, I was gonna hightail it to that gulch, but like I said, the world took me other places. Here's a question for everyone. So obviously my riding gear for today was my Bedrock mountain clogs, my nice paint spotted pants, my Onewheel windbreaker, and a little Fanny Pack, custom made Fanny Pack by me. So what do you guys take if you're going out, let's just say a neighborhood cruise like this? What's your neighborhood cruise kit? Do you bring a bag? Do you just put a helmet on, put your shoes on, and grab your board and go? Nothing else? I tend to not listen to music. I prefer to hear the wind, hear the noises. So I kept it pretty light, but definitely, I mean, for me, the Fanny Pack's essential. One is because I made it, so I like to use it, but two, it's just, it's pretty nice not to have anything in your pockets. Fanny Pack usage is pretty new to me. I would say I adopted it about 3-4 months ago. Just made myself one and started to use it all the time. And just not having things in your pocket all the time is quite nice. You feel a lot lighter. You're walking around and stuff doesn't just jiggle around in your pockets. It's pretty nice. I much prefer to have it just all in one spot in a bag. Yeah, it's, the colors were gorgeous today. It was a little rainier earlier this week, so all the greenery and flowers and everything have been super happy and vibrant. But it's, I don't know, if you were to go out, I don't actually know where I was going with that question. Well, let me ask, so since I said the Bedrock mountain clogs are my favorite, not only shoe, but one-wheeling shoe. And I know it's crazy because it looks like they don't have a heel, but they do have like a little strap. I mean, they're meant for like hiking and stuff. So you feel locked in. I mean, when I first got them, I went on a little hike and found a river and was just jumping between river rocks, just no hesitation. I was just full committing, not hoping, but counting on them to grab me, and I didn't slip once. So I'm quite locked in. So what's your go-to riding shoe? You know, I know a lot of people out there are Vans or skate shoes, but you know, you might want to try the mountain clogs. Come on, let's pull together and sell them out again when they come back in the fall. Great stuff. I also always hope whenever I pass those speed limit signs like that, I always hope that they pick me up, but I'm never sure if they do. That one definitely didn't pick me up. I always try to like punch it a little bit. I feel like there's like a threshold for their speed limit, but it didn't go for me that time, and it made me a little bit sad. Pretty sure I saw a really cute dog here coming up on the left too. Or I might have passed it already. But yeah, I mean, this road I'm on right now, I don't think I've ever, or maybe I have been on it, but I was in my car, so I don't remember being on it. There's definitely, for me at least, something about when I'm driving in my truck, especially now that I have a motorcycle, my brain definitely turns off. I tend to save my brain energy for when I'm on the motorcycle or one-wheeling around the streets. So like when I'm driving, I'll take roads and kind of black out. Like I don't absorb what I'm going past. So this all felt new to me. Maybe I haven't actually ever been down this road, but it's fun to, it's crazy to me that I've lived in this, like I'd say 5 miles radius of where I live, that I've never been to these areas. Like from here on, all brand new. Never, first time seeing any of this. We're coming up here on the little secret beach that I found. I guess it won't be a secret anymore after this. I guess you don't really know where this is, but it was a nice little beach. I think I'm gonna probably go there this weekend. I might, maybe Sunday, hop on my wheel and bring some coffee and some breakfast and enjoy a nice breakfast down there. Not sure what the tide's like in the mornings. I don't know tides at all, but you know, that's what you got a wheel for. You can go check out the tide. But yeah, look at that little thing. So actually it must go pretty high, because I'm noticing now there's that pool of water towards the back of the beach, so that must be left over from when the tide goes out. But yeah, I just see like this road, dead end. Never been down there. If I was in a car, probably still would never have been down there. But when you're on the wheel, you might as well go down there. Like there's nothing stopping you. The whole point of the one wheel is to explore your world more, see what it's out there. I mean, that's what, at least for me, that's why I bought my first one wheel. A lot of people don't actually know this, is that before working for Future Motion, I was a one wheel rider. I had a One Wheel Plus for probably 2 years before getting a job here. And, you know, just like a lot of people that buy a one wheel, I went through the same things of like, oh, do I really want to spend this money? I think the Plus was $1,200. And at the time I was living in Vermont, I had like a 4-mile commute to work, and I was like, is $1,200 really worth it? Like, am I going to use it that much? Is it a toy? And I just did it. I bought it, and I've never looked back. I think it was one of the best purchases I've ever made in my life. It really just opened up. Again, it opened up my area. This was a little stoker on the side of the street. He was stoked I came down that road. You always gotta you know, give a little fist bump to the people that are cheering you on. But yeah, I mean, if I didn't work for Future Motion right now, I'd 100% have a Pint X. I would have bought a Pint X and I'd be absolutely ripping it around. Like I said before, I think it is the perfect board for me, at least. You know, I understand some people want that higher speed or the bigger board that the GT has and the power, but the Pint is just so much fun. I mean, the Pint X is my mode of transportation at the office. No one walks around here. Everyone's wheeling around. It's more efficient. You know, I can go to the bathroom and get back to work in 30 seconds rather than a minute and a half it would take to walk. I'm a slow walker in the office, at least. And it's just, I don't know. It's just a great machine. I mean, as we advertise, it's pocket-sized fun, and it surely is. So yeah, this was like, this area, as you can tell by me looking all around, I've always looked at this road when I go, and I've always wondered, how do I get there? And now I know how to get there. Fun little sand dunes here. I kind of wish I had stopped, aired down, and rode around on the beach a little bit, but I'm not sure. I think I would have just sunk immediately. It was pretty loose sand. It's been pretty windy, so all the sand's getting blown around. You might have seen it was on the street a little bit, got blown off. Coming up on a biker here, I never really know what to do with bikers when I'm wheeling, because there's definitely parts where you're faster and other parts where they're faster. Last week when I was riding back from Kevin's house after watching the Grand Prix, I was at a red light and this biker pulls up next to me. And I was like, "Oh, you're trying to go fast?" And his response was, "I'm just trying to go at this point." I didn't really know what he meant, but I was like, "Oh, well, like if you're trying to go fast, I'll let you go ahead because you'll probably cook faster than me." He's like, "Oh no, go for it." And so I'm just cruising, and I look back and he's way back there. Like I left him in the dust. But he might have been finishing out his ride and was tired. Like I'm sure if I came across Sir Adam Laser on the street and I said, "Hey, you want to go ahead of me?" He'd probably be like, "Yeah, I want to go ahead of you. I'm going to pass you even if you try to get ahead of me." So I never know what to do with bikers is the moral of that story. This guy I passed, he was a little tired. I think he just finished off a little ride, so I could tell he was pretty knackered. But we're coming up on the end of the ride here. I'm just still don't know where I am at this point, just trying to figure out where to go. But I actually get my bearings right around here because this is the beach that I first came out to after hitting that trail close to my apartment, which I had also never been down that trail before. That was a first for me. I've always walked past it and just never went to see where it goes. And now I have a fun little loop I can do. It's probably, I don't know, a mile loop, pretty short, but I could just lap it a bunch if I really want to. So now I'm just working my way back. I was realizing I probably should get back to work. I mean, I guess I'm doing work by riding, but I had some editing I had to do. So really the goal before I went back was just to go and get one more curb nudge in. I feel a little sad by myself by not being able to get more curb nudges in, but I also kind of thought I'd see more curbs that weren't in the street. Like, I guess I didn't really find very many parking lots, but I kind of thought I'd find more curbs that I could hop up and practice on, but I wasn't really having any luck. I'm not sure what I'm saying here. I do know what I'm saying now that I'm remembering I was saying, let's do a giveaway. Like I said before, drop in the comments what your neighborhood ride gear is, what you bring, and heck, if you want to say where you're going and how long you ride for, drop that too. And should we do a custom fanny pack, or should we do some accessories? I'll figure that out later. I don't know, custom fanny pack could be kind of cool though. One of a kind, you'd be the only one with it. But yeah, here's coming up in the last spot. I practice some curb nudges. This one gave me a lot a lot more trouble. Again, I think it was the drainage dip into the curb that kept really messing up my timing. Like it was, I was making sure that I thought that van was pulling in, but they were not. They was just parked there. I'm not sure if it was the dip for the drainage that was throwing off my timing or the GoPro. It was just all bad, but I've been able to realize like what it is I'm doing wrong here. I just kept pulling over because I kept seeing cars come, and I'm just so used to assuming people don't see you, which I think is a pretty safe assumption, that I just pull over. So yeah, what I was realizing was like I wasn't braking hard enough here, so I wasn't actually getting the nose high enough to pinch the tire into the curb like you need to, because like I said earlier, this is a lower curb. Like I could almost just about ride up to it and have my nose go over it. So this would be like a great example of why I want to learn how to bonk. Because I don't think every curb you need to do a nudge up. You could just probably bonk up this easily. But I haven't gotten to that point yet. I might have to hit up Neil, because that guy will just launch full speed off of anything. So I need to learn how he does it. But I think I did like 2 more attempts, and then I realized what it was that I wasn't doing right. And then when I was trying to do the live commentary, I said it, and then I was like, I'm gonna get it here, I feel it, it's good. And I did it, and just being able to figure out and like realize what you're doing and why it's not working, I think really helps the learning process. So I think this was the one where I say, nope, that was where I was like, I'm not braking hard enough and I'm not slamming the nose hard enough into it. I was really just trying to like shove it up instead of slam it down. There it is, see? Boom, just like that. The other thing I think that really helps with the GT curb nudges is that super grippy grip tape. It, like especially with these clogs on, foot goes absolutely nowhere. So we're just wrapping up the ride here. I'm just cruising back down the street. I like taking these back streets because no one's really ever there, so you can kind of just own the road and get some nice carving in. It's not as good. Honestly, the best time to one wheel, nighttime, like middle of the night, 11 o'clock, midnight, and like when there's no one on the street and it's just you, the sound of the one wheel and the road underneath you, like that is pure bliss. And that is when I will just deep carve across the whole road, like complete mind cleanse. There's sometimes if I can't sleep, I'll hop out of my bed, hop on my board and just cruise around, like do a mile loop, come back home, and I'll fall asleep. It's meditative. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's what flow state is, huh? So here I was thinking about booking it left here and hitting this curb to hop up, but people love to rip around this left turn or this right turn here. Like, I don't think anyone brakes. They think they're driving a freaking F1 car and have all the downforce in the world and can stop in a heartbeat, but I didn't really feel like being flattened. Yeah, that was my little cruise. Hope everyone enjoyed, and hope you guys are having a great time out there, and keep riding and go practice your curb nudges. All right, later.